welcome to welcome back to my channel. Yet again, another day, another review. Now that Ready to Love is done, we're getting right into the meat of the matter of Put a Ring on It. And today we'll be talking about episode 3. So let's get into the video. Episode 3 actually continues from Dr. Nicole telling all 3 of the couples that they'll be going on a date this week in the same place at the same time, and that this is supposed to be an exercise in trust and self-reassuredness. Yeah, self-reassuredness, that's what she said. So everyone will be going on a date with someone new, with the exception of Darian, because last week he chose to go on a second date with Kai. Jessica's date is first, and she came to slay yet again another week because she had on a black fitted catsuit situation, and not only did it catch her date's eye, but it caught Eric's eye as well.
I thought it was simple, but
sorry, it looks good.
Jessica's date goes by Clarence. He's 33 years old, he's a bodybuilder, and he's a little bit of a cutie. So when he shows up, I mean, Eric was much more chill this week. He even told them, you know, go out there, do what you do, be safe, enjoy your time. So Jessica said that was beautiful for her in her confessional. And then she said it made her feel more assured that she could have a good time.
Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
You already know.
What's going on, man? Nice to meet you. I'm here, man.
Nice to meet you.
Do y'all thing, man. Have fun. You know, be safe.
oh my
That's
God.
it.
I think Eric knows what he's doing. I think Eric knows who he is with, and he is just playing a little bit of a reverse psychology situation. That was my first impression, because he is way too chill to be telling his girl to go out with another guy that's like, oh yeah, do you, enjoy. But I guess we'll know by the end of the episode whose feelings are gonna get hurt. Lauren's date was next, and Shon is just not a fan of this pink dress. He told her, that's what you're wearing? That is too short. But she was like, no, it's fine. It's just, it's not too short. Her date goes by the name Sir James. He's 38, and he looks like this, y'all.
My name is Sir James. I'm 38 years old. I'm looking for a strong, independent woman.
Immediately I saw this guy, I knew he was gonna have Shon twisted, because last week's dude was just average and Shon almost lost it. This guy, Shon goes to the door, opens the door, sees him, and then says, damn, my girl out here about to be dating a linebacker, or this guy looks like a freaking superhero. Listen, finished me. Like, I completely died laughing, because right away his whole demeanor changed. He got more like nervous and agitated. He was really trying to hold it together, but you could definitely tell that Shon was under pressure. So Shon invites Sir in, and they got to talking a little bit, and Shon just kept emphasizing, this is my lady. You know, you're not about to find love here. Like, you could tell he was feeling insecure because he kept emphasizing that this is my lady. So you knew his feelings were hurt. And so LaRonda said in her confessional that she didn't like that. She feels like it makes it seem like he doesn't trust her, and also she's annoyed by it. She said that she feels like she constantly has to be walking on eggshells, and it's exhausting. As they exit the house and leave for their date, Shon is there like, oh, I'm gonna be there too, like letting them know, like, don't get too comfortable because I'm gonna be there. So anyway, cut to their actual date, and I think their vibe was very good. Like I said last week, I think LaRonda is someone that's fairly easy to get along with. She seems to be able to, you know, she's good with conversation and so on. So she seems to be really good at making people comfortable.
Yes.
Really?
Yes. That's my little Sunday hobby.
Flag back in
I
the
stay
day.
active. Oh, really? You gonna give me tips?
I'll give you the tips. I'll give you all the tips.
And Sir was, you know, he was chatting sense. You know, he wasn't like, you know, some of the other guys last week that were just, you know, good looking but didn't have anything to offer. Like, I believe his name was Randon. So she asked him, like, why did you choose this experience? Because obviously this is an unconventional experience. So he said, you know, dating can be hard out here. And so he just wanted to put himself out there, try a new experience, because he's very ready. So she asked him, how do you know that you're ready? And he said, well, no, I know. Like, he said it very like affirmed. I know I'm ready, you know, at the age that I am, and seeing like my, you know, family members, they're married, they have kids. So this is a guy who is sounding like he's very ready to settle down and move forward to marriage. So I definitely think he was a great pick for LaRonda, and the vibes were good. At the same time, Shon is outside waiting on his date, who goes by Brittany, and she's a singer and she looks decent. And so she comes up, he introduces himself, and they get inside or walk inside of the restaurant. The first thing Shon says is, well, that's my girl over there. Like, literally, the first thing he says to her. Then they pick a seat maybe 2 feet away from LaRonda and Sir. I was just like, oh my God. I really think they did Brittany a disservice by putting her together with Shon, because he was so distracted, so focused on LaRonda and what she was doing over there. It got to the point where I think LaRonda said like, oh, let's order shots. Yeah, she was a bit loud, but he should have just been focused on his date. He got distracted, started venting to Brittany, and he was like, oh, she don't even talk that loud. Like, she's just being extra. Like, I don't think he even spent any time. Like, the only thing they really got to know about each other on that date is that they're both in the entertainment industry. After that, and they realized like, oh, that was cool. And then he was like, that's nice, you know, having somebody who can actually relate to his entrepreneurship lifestyle. That was it. The rest of the date was spent obsessing over what LaRonda was over there doing. Eventually, LaRonda and Sir decided to leave after their date. And while they were leaving, his eyes followed them right through the door. And he was so concerned that Sir may have been attempting to put his hand above LaRonda's bum bum. So, I mean, I don't think his date went anywhere with Brittany, to be honest. So Darian and Kai's date are next, and at first we're seeing them in a car together. So I'm assuming they're heading towards the restaurant. And so while in the car, Darian says to Kai, well, just letting you know, Alexia, which is, you know, his girlfriend, is gonna be there. In her confessional, she goes, I don't really know how I feel about that, because being in the same space with her is gonna make me feel like a side chick. And I am nobody's second. I am never going to be a second. But you are, though. You really are. I really don't like this girl, yeah? She's very forward. Too forward, if you ask me. And you're disillusioned. You are a second, and you're 2 steps away from being a side chick, because that's what you came here for. You came here to be the reserve in the event that this man decides that he does not want to move things forward with his woman, his main woman. So as much as she's like, oh, I don't want to be second or whatever, you are. Let's just leave it at that. Cut to Jessica and Clarence's date, and they're having a good little chat. Their vibe seems to be going really well, and she actually said that what she likes about him is the fact that he seems to be interested in getting to know her for her. And everything was going great until Eric walked in with his date, Tanisha.
This part,
When I was looking at it,
maybe a week.
Yeah.
So I got another appointment like 2 weeks to finish off, and then
Oh,
that is.
So what I didn't like is that Eric walked in front of Taisha or Tanisha, whatever her name is. And I thought that, you know, that wasn't very gentlemanly of him. I don't know if I'm the only one who takes issue with that. He didn't even like open the door and was like, oh, go ahead. Like, he just walked in front of her. Anyway, once they came in, Jessica became completely distracted on her date and started doing this nervous giggle and talking to her date about, oh my God, like, look, there they are. Oh my God, she's so awkward. She completely lost focus. All her focus was now on Eric and his date. Eric did mention once they sat down to his date that, okay, my girl, that's my girl over there. And I think he said, what do you think about her? And she said, oh, well, she's nice. Let's get the elephant out of the room. After that, their date was just great conversation, great vibes. They were having drinks, nothing to do with Jessica. It almost seemed like Eric didn't really remember that Jessica was in the room, so much so that Jessica got uncomfortable and eventually said that she wanted to go. And while leaving, in her confessional, she said, oh, you know, I was just hoping that he would have turned around and at least taken a glimpse at the fact that she's leaving. Eric didn't even bat an eyelash. I don't even think he realized that she left. Otherwise, I think maybe he did realize, but maybe this was the game to kind of pretend like he didn't. But honestly, it seemed like he was just having a good time and was in his own little bubble. Cut to Alexia, who is standing outside with an umbrella in the rain waiting on her date, and I don't know what she was wearing. Maybe I'm just not as eccentric as her, but I find her sense of style to be a bit weird. She had on a hat with a red lining, a mesh top which showed all of her bra, all of her stomach, and then a little shorts.
On this date, I just want to meet someone that I can connect with.
Like, I don't know, it wasn't doing it for me, but all right, girl, do what you gotta do. So her date goes by the name Desi. Seemed like a cool dude, but didn't really seem like he was mature enough. Like, he gave me like, okay, early 30s, late 20s vibe. He was dressed very casually. He had his hair in, I think, plaits or locks, whichever one it may be. And she didn't really seem to like him. But right away, as soon as he approached, he complimented her on her attire, and he was being very nice. So even though there may not be a romantic connection, I do think he was quite friendly. Honestly, I got the vibe that he liked her, but she came across very dry and very uncomfortable. Anyway, they eventually go into the restaurant, and as soon as they walked in, she's already looking at Darian and Kai. And once they sit down, Darian did get a bit discombobulated. He told Kai, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not okay. I've now lost focus, I can't eat, I can't this, I can't that. So he was really bothered by the fact that she was over there on another date. And like I said, Kai comes across very just that type of person that loves drama to me, because her immediate response is very just like, oh, this is messy, la la la. It's almost like she was enjoying it. So in her confessional, she was like, oh, this whole situation is killing the vibe between her and Darian. Like, she really is just too much. Then here goes Darian volunteering information that didn't nobody ask for, telling Kai, oh, I think you actually intimidate Alexia. Here goes Kai's conceited behind. Oh, is it because I'm pretty? What? Really? Girl, relax. Alexia seemed to have overheard her name, because at that point she got very distracted and she started telling Desi, which was her date, like, oh, that's my guy over there, so and so and so. And she went on and on about Darian. And so, of course, Desi, like anybody else, got a little bit annoyed, and he said, we're here to date each other. We're here to get to know each other. And it seems like all she wants to do is constantly talk about Darian. And this is the second time we're seeing her on a date where that's her go-to. It seems like her identity is completely wrapped up in Darian. Eventually, Darian tells Kai, like, he's too uncomfortable. He can't stay here, so he wants to go. And she was ready, hopped to it, and thought it was a good idea to hold on to his hand, and he allowed it. While they were leaving, Alexia's eyes followed them right through the door, and then she yelled, "We're gonna let hands go," twice. She said she felt disrespected, she felt annoyed, and I guess knowing that he's in the same space with her and they were still behaving like that made her feel like she was a joke. Cut to Eric and Jessica's home, and Eric comes home and tells Jessica, like, first of all, he's beaming, just smiling and having a good old time, super happy. So Jessica's like, oh, like, you're in a good mood, like, how did the date go? And he was just like, oh, it was one of the best, if not the best conversation I've had on a date, like, of all time. And of course she was offended. And then after that, he was just like, I think she asked him, like, how did you feel about, like, the whole situation, being so close to me and I'm also on a date? Eric was just like, honestly, like, after I came in, we were so engaged in conversation that it almost felt like we were in our own bubble. So he basically said, I almost forgot that you guys were there. Listen, she got so tight. And I think this is just a lesson in don't ask questions that you're not prepared for the answers, like, if you're not prepared for the answers, because she asked questions, she asked him to be honest, and then when he answered honestly, she actually said, you're being too honest, like, it's too much, you're doing too much, but you asked and he answered, and it just made the whole vibe awkward, and she got her feelings hurt, started to cry, and there was just awkward silence.
You being too honest.
She already lied to you?
No, but damn.
She really stimulated my mind.
Okay. Let me move. I need some water.
So once all the dates are done, we cut back to everyone, all the couples, with Dr. Nicole in the therapy room. So Dr. Nicole starts with each couple. She's going to find out from each couple how their date went. And she started with Shon and LaRonda and asked them, so how did your dates go? Shon started talking first, and he said, well, to be honest, I really wasn't focused on my date because I was so wrapped up in LaRonda and her date. And then proceeds to say, speak for LaRonda and say like, oh, she didn't like her date. He's not her type of guy. He has, you know, the guy with muscles and the nice car and whatever. That's not her type. And I'm just over here thinking, who asked you all of that? We asking you about your dates. Like, how are you going to determine that LaRonda did not like her date? And basically try to diminish the guy for what is perceived as good things. Like, take them and kind of make them seem like, oh, nah, she's not into that. And it was a little embarrassing because rather than for it to show that, okay, this sir was not a good candidate, it just showed Shon as a very, very insecure person. All in all, Dr. Nicole checked him real quick and just told him like, you're not in a position to make that decision for her, allow her to speak. So eventually she gets the time to speak and she says like she liked the date, she found him quite attractive, they had a good vibe going, and so she enjoyed herself. Once she said that, Shon got defensive and he was like, oh, on top of it, he tried to put his hand on the small of her butt while they were leaving. And LaRonda was just like, I didn't feel anything, you know, like we were just so focused on getting out the door. And so Shon was like, how are you not going to feel that? So she said, this is part of the problem. Whenever he thinks something, he automatically deems her a liar. So all in all, Dr. Nicole cut him and was just like, look, you've got to clean it up because your filter is broken and you can't put onto someone what you think is reality. Like there needs to be a balance or a difference between what you think and what reality actually is. So she told him, clean it up, especially if you trust your woman, like clean it up. After that debacle, Alexia and Darian were next. And of course, Alexia mentioned the situation with Kai and how the hand-holding while they were leaving made her feel disrespected. And she went even further to say that Alexia actually laughed at her when she said, no hand-holding. So Dr. Nicole just told her, like, you should have been focused on your date because certain things are out of your control and you don't always have to be in a position to control something, whether it is something that you like or don't like. And so that's the lesson that she should take away from it and should have spent her time getting to know her date. Eric and Jessica were next, and Eric said to Dr. Nicole that he loved his date. Conversation was great. She stimulated his mind, though she's not the typical person he would go for, so he's not attracted to her, but it's literally the best conversation he's ever had. So Jessica was butthurt, of course, and she expressed that feeling and said that it hurt her feelings because she's under the impression that they've also had some great conversations, but obviously not. And she went a bit further. You know when your feelings are hurt, so you try to pull the person down. So she went a bit further and started to say like, oh, I bet conversation is all you had anyway because you're all about looks and sex and whatever. And obviously, like, she's implying that you wouldn't get that from her based on how the girl looks. So conversation is all you had. So Dr. Nicole checked her real quick and said, to sum it all up, that her presumptions aren't reality. So don't assume that just because you've known this person for a long time that you know how they're going to respond to something right away. So after talking to all the couples, Dr. Nicole is asking for some decisions. Like, are we going to go out with a new person next week, or are we going to go on a follow-up date with the person that we went on this week? So Darian was first, and he agreed to a third date with Alexia because according to him, this date was not good because he was too distracted, and so he feels like he needs a do-over. Alexia said she's not attracted to Desi, and so while he was a cool person and she feels like they could be friends, she doesn't want to go on a second date with him. Eric proved to be the shallow person that Jessica thought he was because after all of that wonderful conversation, really great getting to know her, he actually said no to another date with Taisha because even though the conversation was great, he needs to be attracted to the person he's speaking to. So clearly looks trump everything for Eric. Jessica actually said yes to a second date with Clarence. I'm not entirely sure she was doing that just because she wanted to go on a second date. I feel like a big part of it is her feelings are hurt, and now that she knows that Eric is fully into the process, she is saying that she wants to do that. She wants to give herself a fair chance to be committed to the process. And finally, Dr. Nicole asked LaRonda if she wanted to go on a second date with Sir. And again, in her confessional, before making a decision, she's just saying she likes the guy, but she's so concerned with how Shon is going to take it, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you guys signed up for this process, and I'm finding it a bit ridiculous that every time she wants to go on a second date, it's an issue. So, of course, that's where the episode ends. And so next week's episode will resume with LaRonda's answer. And then, of course, I'm sure they'll ask Shon if he wants to go on a second date with Brittany. And then we'll find out if he'll actually die if she says yes or no, because his attitude is ridiculous. Like, she literally has to be cuddling him through this step. I don't think they're a good fit for this show because he can't control his emotions. And that wraps up this episode, you guys. And so until next week, I will see you for episode 3. In the meantime, talk to me in the comments. Stay connected with me on all social medias. Like, comment, share, all of that.